Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Sonos once again. But before we do that, if you guys are into tech reviews, some 4K Blu-ray reviews, some movie reviews, and some video game stuff along the way, then please consider subscribing because we do all that here. So if you clicked on this video, you're probably familiar with Sonos, and you're probably familiar with home theater equipment. So today we're going to be talking about the Sub Mini. Now this is the original, well not the original, but this is the Gen 3 Sonos subwoofer. This is the big boy. And you know, I was actually pretty surprised when I even just picked this up at the store and held it in the box. Like, that was a big box first of all, and it was pretty heavy. And it's, I mean, they say it's a mini, it is smaller, but you know, not by much, and we're going to get into that. So I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with the Sonos ecosystem, but if not, Sonos is basically, you can make your entire home Sonos friendly. You know, there's in-wall speakers, there's sound bars, there's not so much Bluetooth speakers, but they're called the Roam speakers, and it's kind of like a Sonos's answer to Bluetooth speakers. And you can just create home theater setups, you can create atmospheric setups, they have garden speakers or outdoor speakers. You could just do everything, and you can create all different zones, and Sonos is really the way to go for someone who doesn't want the wires, and for someone who wants to just access everything on their phone and have their music wherever they are, or have a fantastic home theater experience. So when I built my man cave down here, I was originally going to do a receiver with wired speakers and all that, but the guy at the store at Best Buy in the Magnolia Theater actually talked me into Sonos, and I'm glad he did, because now I am a firm believer in the Sonos ecosystem. But let's dive right into the Sub Mini. So right off the bat, like I said earlier in the video, this thing is not really too mini if you compare it to its big brother. So this is the traditional Gen 3, this is what I have in my home theater, and this is at my gaming / command center where I do my PC gaming. I have my Xbox set up over there. Sometimes I'll watch a movie if I'm playing or working on the computer. And I have this Sonos Mini paired to my Beam Gen 2, and I think this thing really brought out the full potential of the Beam, because I have in my home theater, I have the Arc paired with this, and this is paired to my Beam, and boy oh boy, this thing is incredible. Now from day one, when I got the original Gen 3 subwoofer, I was blown away by the amount of bass that this thing puts out. This thing sounds absolutely insane. And honestly, this mini sub is not too far behind this. And that's saying something, because this thing is absolutely insane. I guarantee you this Sub Mini is probably better than most subwoofers that are paired with common sound bars, or just, you know, off-the-shelf sound bars today. Maybe not like flagship models from Bose or Sony. Those subwoofers are probably a hair bit better, but I've never had them to compare to. But I was pretty blown away when I first plugged this in. So I didn't want to crowd the counter too much, but this is the box it came in. When the guy handed this to me, I was like, holy cow. That's a pretty big box. Sonos has a really nice design here. I love what they did with the Gen 3 sub, and the Mini is just as nice, if not maybe even cooler, because you know, you can still got that see-through in there, and you can see both drivers in there. It's got dual 6-inch subwoofer drivers in there, and they sound really good. The amount of bass that comes out of this thing, I was really blown away. You know, it's not going to be a $10,000 subwoofer that you compare to your Denon or Marantz receiver, you know, so you got to keep this in mind that this is a soundbar subwoofer, but still, the amount of bass that comes out of this thing is more than I've heard in a lot of people's setups that I know. And for the price, you know, it's $429. I think it's a little high, you know, but when you're pairing it together with your Beam or your Arc, you could buy your soundbar first, and then down the road, which I did, you pick up your subwoofer, and then if you want to do the rears, then you do that down the road as well. But I have this paired to my Beam Gen 2 over with a C1 TV that I have my Xbox Series X hooked up to. And I mainly just kind of play video games on this. Every once in a while I'll watch a movie or something while I'm on the computer because I have the dual monitor set up over there. And again, playing video games with the subwoofer is a game changer, and I didn't do that on purpose actually. But again, I think this is paired perfectly with a beam. You can definitely pair this with the ARC as well. If you have a smaller space, I think this is going to be more than enough bass for what you're looking for. Especially if you have an ARC and this in a small space. The ARC is a very powerful soundbar and is meant for a bigger area, but again, I love overkill, so you know, go for the big guy if you really want. But if money's an issue, I don't think you'll be disappointed with the beam with the Sub Mini, because again, it sounds incredible. Now back to the design, I wanted to point out it's got the rubber feet on it, so you could put this on a hard like tile floor, wood floor, your laminate floor, whatever, carpet. It's raised, and there's no vent or anything on the bottom, so you don't have to worry about it getting hot or any of that. So you can put it on carpet, any surface works, and you get no vibration out of it, which is great, because that is big thing with the subwoofer. You ever pull up to a stoplight and you hear someone's car just rattling with that deep bass? You're not going to get that with you. You're going to get nice, clean, deep bass with zero rattle, unless you got some loose picture frames or something in the room that can't really be faulted for this. So I tested a few movies. We watched Avengers Endgame on this. That big battle scene at the end, it just sounds absolutely insane. It blows me away what Sonos does. I mean, I've kind of became a Sonos fanboy at this point. Once I hooked up my ARC, my Gen 3 subwoofer, and my two Sonos 5s for the rears, I said, holy cow, this is insane. I couldn't imagine anything more than this. And it really blew me away. And that's why I wanted to stick with the Sonos. So in my gaming setup, again, the Beam with the Sonos Mini, I think is the perfect pair. So if you do have a Beam, I can guarantee you'll be very, very happy pairing a Sub Mini to that, because it will sound awesome, and it really, really brings out the life to the Beam also, because the Beam isn't really working as hard to put out the bass, and it can focus on the vocals and just the more mid to high range sounds versus the low sounds that are going to come out of your subwoofer. I think at the time of this recording, Sonos was running a sale. Unfortunately, the Sub Mini was not on sale. However, the big guy was on sale, and so is the ARC. So if you wanted the bigger brother of this, that's also an option as well. And this thing just sounds absolutely insane. And you could pair two subwoofers together. With the home theater setups, you could pair two of the same subwoofers together in your system. And I don't think it's necessary to have anything more than this, because this shakes my entire house. I could not imagine a second one. And the Mini, maybe two of the Minis would be perfect, and I think two of the Minis would be like just a step above one of these. So, you know, kind of do the math there, keep that in mind. And depending on your setup and your budget, you know, you're gonna kind of figure out what works best for you. But overall, I can guarantee you will not be disappointed in any Sonos product, because I consider myself, I wouldn't say an audiophile, but I really, really enjoy crisp, clean, loud audio and, you know, just good quality audio. And I think Sonos makes quality products. They're not the cheapest, but you get what you pay for. And the best thing about the Sonos is everything is wireless. And again, if you guys are familiar with the Sonos, you probably already know when you open up the Sonos app, because there's no remote with anything Sonos, you just open up the app, and then the second you plug this in, it recognizes it, it downloads the updates it needs, it pairs it to your system, and you're ready to rock and roll within about 5 minutes or less. So I've been really enjoying my experience with the Sonos Mini subwoofer, and I really, really think if you guys are thinking about it, just pull the trigger, because you're going to love it. So in closing, I would recommend pairing this with a Beam Gen 2 in a smaller space, and if you have a larger space, I would go for the ARC and the big guy, but I think you could still get away with this, because again, this does put out enough bass even for a larger area. Again, it's not going to put out as much as this, but I still think it puts out plenty. It's smaller, but puts out quite the punch. But that's going to about wrap it up for me here today. If you guys have any other questions, we could try to answer them down in the comment section. I hope I covered everything that you might want to know. If there's any other questions, just throw them down in the comments. We'll try to answer them if we can. But remember, guys, we are not tech support. I am just Joe Schmo off the street, picked this up, paid full price out of my own pocket, and I'm telling you my thoughts on it. You know, I'm not getting into the detailed tech specs because honestly, I'm not too sure what they are. You know, I just know it's got 6-inch drivers. It hooks up very easily. It sounds amazing. And I know Sonos makes quality products. So if you guys like this review, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so. But until next time, guys, have a great day.